So, new oil line, new elbow back there. Let's see, because all the junk in the way. There it is. And I mean new, not new, off of my parts engine. And I went ahead and hooked the intake up. But as you can see, that kind of looks factory. The hood fits down real nice. So I'm gonna go ahead and restart it. Should fire right back up. Since I had it running. Smashed my head. So let's see. Had this hunting issue. It's had this hunting issue since I put this LDS in until it warms up. Now let's go see if it's still got an oil leak. The manual throttle hooked up, or it's just wet, but I don't see any new oil, so still smoking pretty good, but see something wrong with that headlight. I got really cheap ones now. I remember paying a couple $100 for those truck lights. It's starting to kind of so she runs again, a little more tuning up, figure out why she's hunting. Something in the governor. It's been sticky since I got the truck. I have spare ones, so maybe I'll swap governors and see if that works. Another project I'll do a video on is I'm going to put a second fuel tank on it. I've already welded another place to fill it there, because this part will be underneath the bed and you can't get to it. It's just a mirror image of the tank on the other side. Oh, I also have these MRAP backup lights. A guy was selling a kit where on the back of the transmission there's a rod that comes out for the old style non-air operated transfer case. So whenever you put it in reverse, it would move that rod. Well, he designed a kit to cut the rod down, put a seal in, and put a thing over it that held a micro switch. So whenever you put it in reverse, those lights come on. If that's not the wires for it that my dog chewed. She's when she was a fresh puppy, she was real bad about finding wiring under all my trailers and everything else. So You see the standard tank. The plan is to have this tank pump into the other tank, and then the other tank feeds the engine. So then I can carry a total 100 gallons of fuel. And I actually get 10 to 12 miles a gallon. See? It's still just a little hunt, but it's kind of smoothed out. No fresh oil. Looks pretty good. I would say this repair is pretty successful. Let's see if we see any exhaust leaks from the manifold. See, you can see that gasket down in there. The best way to tell is going to be to pressure wash the engine compartment, pressure wash the engine, and oh, is that some exhaust? It might be drifting down, I don't know. Or it's maybe out of the turbo. Actually, if anywhere, it's probably out of that clamp. That clamp's the clamp's not the greatest. I'll just see if I get another clamp. So hook this wire back up. I want to blow the air horn for you guys. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Alright, let's see. See, it should blow. I know it worked before. Oh no! I guess, oh. That's right. I gotta run a new horn wire, so I hooked it to this. So, I forgot. Since I took the flame heater out, that's a momentary switch for the flame heater. So, sounds pretty good. Showing about 60 psi, not showing anything in the fuel tank. It's probably a bad sending unit or a bad ground. Temp's not coming up yet. That's kind of weird. It's charging. Looks like it's running about 850 RPM, something like that, if the gauge is to be believed. Now I put a new odometer in here when I rebuilt the engine. So the engine's only got less than 1,800 miles on it since I redid it. So yeah, the truck's been sitting there. I got stupid mud daubers and stuff in here. But anyway, look forward to keep going on it. And oh yeah, is that the charging circuit that's flashing? Oh, it's just the ground. Ground was loose on this, that's why. And I want to permanently wire that in. I actually have two of them. I want to put one on each side. So I did run it last night. Starts pretty easy. Smokes a bit, which, I mean, again, it's been sitting a little while. Its head's cleared up some. It still hunts until it warms up, but it doesn't appear that there's any exhaust leaks from the manifold. I did go back and snugged them down just a little bit. Just put the wrench on them, see if they get loosened up since the manifold had heated and warped. I do have a bit of exhaust leak from this clamp and this clamp. But not much. Not like it was. I mean, you can see how black it was, just pouring down the side of the engine and blasting in the cab unless you were moving and everything. So it's way, way better than it was, which was my whole goal of this. So I'll start it back up. and show it to you running in the daylight. Got bits and pieces of all my other projects in here. Fuel filter or fuel pump and stuff like that. Pedestrious. I do have an air ride seat that I plan to install in here. All right. So. See, it takes a minute for the oil pressure. There it comes. The multi-fuels are very, they drain, the oil drains back to the tank, or back to the sump. Putting those spin-on fuel filters on helps when you, they have a check valve in them that keeps the fuel from draining back, so you only have a couple of second delay instead of a while. Now if you let it warm up, let everything flow good, it's still hunting a little bit, but I had it running earlier today for a while, and it doesn't hunt. The hunting goes away once it warms up. So let's see if I do this. See, the hunting is pretty much all gone. I'd say that's a successful repair. I mean, there's still a little bit of a haze, but I am burning used motor oil mostly, so I'll do a video on the how the multi-fuel engines work. I actually have one with the heads off, so you can see how the pistons put together. So my next major project is to do the second fuel tank, plumb all that up, and like I said, I want to have a sort of an automatic fill system between the two tanks. The 800 series trucks have a selector switch in the cab that you can actually select right tank or left tank, and it changes the single fuel gauge to read either tank. So I got one of those. I plan to install it so I can read either tank's fuel level. I have a new sending unit to go on this tank. The other tanks, I'm not getting anything on my gauge, but it could be a ground or just a loose wire from it sitting. So I'm going to move it over to my big trailer and empty out all the miscellaneous stuff that's in the back. And I'll probably park it on the concrete and do this other rear wheel seal. I don't know if you can see it. See how that front wheel's kind of shiny? Front dual on the right hand side. So let me see if my dog did chew the reverse wire. I'll shut it off. Turn that back on. Turn the headlights on. Put it in reverse. clutch in. Alright, it's in reverse. Headlights are on. Sounds like I got an air leak under by the air pack. Oh, no, they're working. So I don't know what that other wire goes to. But the backup lights work, which is nice. It really makes a difference at night. And they're military. I just made a plate that bolts behind the bolts for, and used longer bolts for the tail lamps. And I used all military connectors. It's all teed together. Goes to that switch. So that's obviously working fine. Pretty sure I wired it to the headlights. Turn the headlights off. No, I did wire it to the headlights. So that's it on that. When I do my fuel tank, secondary fuel tank install, I'll do another video on that. I have some rubber. I was waiting to get some rubber to go onto the fuel tank straps. I have that now. So, all right. Well, looks like pretty satisfied repair, at least on the manifold. I'll see about getting some exhaust gasket rings to put on those flanges if I can. If not, I think it's enough to live with. It's not too bad. I'll find out when I start driving it. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching.